welcome to my channel. This is Agnes Low, professional corporate trainer and Gallup strength coach. Today, I have a very dear friend of mine. I knew her almost 20 years ago through different kind of trips because we went to many personal growth training, core value training. And she is from America, Indiana. Hazel Walker, she is a very powerful lady. Her background, Hazel is currently the owner of 6 franchises of BNI in 2 countries, the USA and British Columbia, Canada, with 1,800 BNI members who come together to collaborate with each other to build their businesses through a referral process, published in more than a dozen books, and is author of the book, Business, Networking, and Sex, Not What You Think. By the way, I have that book. She has traveled to over 30 countries, teaching the world the importance of giver's gain philosophy and strong networks of people. She is a network queen. When I first knew her 20 years ago, this is how we call her, right? So, and network of people who has a common belief in the power of reciprocation. Hazel is known for her direct, honest conversations and her ability to take the complex concepts and make it easy to understand. She has 3 children, 10 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. Unbelievable. She looks so young. How can she have 1 great-grandchild? Wow, I really love how Hazel lived her life with her life slogan. You make a living by what you get, but you create a life by what you give. Today, we have a very powerful topic. It's about the power of knowing your own core values, giving to others on creating a life you love. We can't wait to hear her sharing. Let's welcome Hazel Walker.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really honored that you asked me. So, I think the first thing I'd like to do, Agnes, is just to tell you a little bit of my background. So I like to tell the story about where I came from, because most people meet me and they think I've always been here in this space, running businesses and speaking and all of that. But actually, I came from a background of poverty, and I came from a very small town, the oldest child is 7. Even when I was a teenager, I slept on an army cot in the kitchen, because there was just not enough space for all of us, the boys and the girls. And I went through high school. And then once I graduated to high school, everyone said, oh, you should go to university. But I didn't want to go to university. I didn't want to do that. So I decided, instead of having people teach me how to create a life, I would just go out and figure it out and create it on my own, which is the hardest way to do it sometimes. But that's what I did. And I started working, and then I had opportunities came along, and then I got married and to my second husband, and he owned an insurance agency. And that insurance agency was our sole source of support. And we had 3 children. And one day he fell down a flight of stairs and he had a massive brain hemorrhage. And I had to learn to run the business because he couldn't work for 2 years, and he was not well. He had 40 stitches in his head. And so I had to learn how to run the business. I had to learn how to be an insurance agent. I had to learn how to hire and fire people. I still had to take care of my children, and I still had to take care of my husband. And I had to learn how to sell. And that's when I ran into this little group called The Network. And so I got involved with the network, and it later became BNI. And I started my own BNI chapter. And that group of people, and this is where I feel like it's so important that we understand giver's gain and our values, because once I built that chapter of other business professionals who were all smarter than me, they taught me how to be a good business person. They taught me about giver's gain because they would give me referrals to help me grow my business. and they didn't expect anything from me. Right. But I was able to also give them referrals. As I grew, I helped them grow. And I became pretty successful as an insurance agent. And then I just decided to buy BNI franchised, and I just decided to buy the franchise. And that was in 1998. So I've owned BNI franchises for a very, very long time, and I've worked very, very hard. But as I was going through that process, I heard about this program through a friend of mine called, his name was 𝒔𝒑𝒏𝒆𝒔. You probably remember Michael Fry.
Yes.
𒒔𝒑𝒏𝒆𝒔 was a good friend, and he introduced me to Linda, and that got me involved in core values. Now, I went to core values going, well, I know my values. My values are family and this, and I listed like 10 values. But then when I started the work, those were not my values. Those are what I thought my values should be, not what they were. You understand?
Yes, yes, I remember. I was also going through all the core value to really discover my real value. What are my core value? Yeah. I remember we went to the classes. Yes.
What's the real value? So we all think we should have certain values, but then when you do the discovery, you learn you've been living your values all your life. You just have to identify them. And so that made a big change in my life. And I understand that my values are courage, commitment, contribution, curiosity, freedom, and fun. Those are some of my key things. Well, contribution is giver's gain. Right? Contributing to the world. And I firmly believe that we get put on this earth to contribute back to it. Right? We're here to contribute back, not to just take everything, but to give back to people, to nature, to every aspect of our life. We find ways to give back. And that is a really, really big key for me. And understanding those values has really led me to where I am today.
That really align all the dots and connect.
Don't you find that when you actually are paying attention to your values, they lead you in the right direction?
Absolutely. I agree. Yes.
They always lead me in the right. And I've turned down some great opportunities where people offered me a lot of money because it didn't match my values.
Yes.
And I knew that if I got involved in some of these things, or I took these jobs, or I did these, that I would not be happy and that I would not achieve the success that I was looking for. And what I understood and learned about myself through all of that process. And you remember that core value was sometimes emotionally grueling. Like you had to really take an inner look at yourself. And I really discovered that I'm not motivated by money. That's not the thing that I feel like is success.
But a lot of time, people really feel money is the motivation, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, the things we look outside ourselves and we think having all of these beautiful things means I'm successful. But often we're surrounded by beautiful things and we still feel empty.
Very
because
true.
We still feel we got to go find more beautiful things in order to make us feel successful and fulfilled. And as soon as we achieve one goal, well, then we're just looking to achieve another goal.
Nonstop, yeah.
Yeah, nonstop. And so it occurred to me that that was not the way I wanted to live my life either.
So what do you want to live?
I wanted to live my life making a difference for other people, right? Really contributing to other people. And at a young age, and by young age now, I mean in my late 30s and 40s, but at a younger age, I learned that in order to change the world, we have to have balance of energy. The world needs balance of energy, and I need balance of energy. You need balance of energy. So we always have to balance our energy. And that energy is feminine and masculine energy. feminine and masculine energy need to be balanced. And we often are usually one way or the other. We're usually off center of our energies. We're always striving. And so sometimes I would be very heavy in my masculine energy, like getting things done and making things happen and being successful. And then sometimes I would go way over into my feminine energy, where I'm looking, how can I help? How can I support? How can I contribute? And giver's gain is the thing that really helps me balance that energy. It really helps me balance. Sometimes I'm helping people be successful in their business and creating that success they want. And sometimes I'm helping people, I'm contributing to them in a more esoteric way by listening, by supporting, by helping. And it creates that balance. And I think a lot of what we are seeing today in our world, or at least I'm feeling it, is that imbalance. And I think the world is trying to come to balance so that the two energies are working well together versus depleting our world and all of that stuff. So creating that giver's gain, I think, with all the members that I have and getting them to understand the giver's gain, it starts to create that energy of balance.
Yeah, I agree. And I really like how you describe the masculine energy and also feminine energy and relate to the givers and gain. Gain, on the other way, the word is receive. Sometimes we always thought that even we are giving, but also there is time that we also need to receive as well. Receive is something that also we need to have the life feel fulfilled and also feel loved as well. The receiving the love, receiving others' care. So I think this cycle is really very much needed to be complete. So that's how the balance,
Yeah, that's how the balance is. And sometimes I was really bad about this, of not being able to receive. Right. And I find that to be really true of a lot of people, that they can't receive a compliment. They put walls up about the receiving and stuff, and they have a hard time. They can give, they're good. I know people who give a lot, but they really restrict their receiving, especially on the emotional side of things. Like, they can go receive and do hard work and make money, but when it comes to receiving to their worth, they have a very difficult time. And that's probably the biggest challenge, is learning to receive.
Yeah, and the complete is like a circle, and this circle, you know quite a bit of Asian part of yin yang, right? The yin yang, that is the balance. Yeah, that is
the balance, right? You're constantly working on that balance. And I think most of our working life, we usually fall to one way and the other way. And I see that so much with all the BNI. I mean, I've spoken in 30 different countries and keynote speaking, because I get on big stages and speak to lots and lots of people.
Yes.
And as I talk to them and I get out in the world, I realize we're all exactly the same. I think that's where the masculine energy and the feminine energy get a little bit out of balance, is because we think that strength is about never crying, never being vulnerable. Don't ever let anyone see you be tender and soft. But that's strength too. When I can sit with you and cry with you, and share your sadness with you, that's strength too.
Yeah,
that's give and take.
Yeah, recently I just shared with another friend, also talking about the vulnerability. Being vulnerable is stronger than someone who doesn't have tears. It's stronger because you are showing your emotion. Showing emotion is something that's so difficult. But if you can share and cry and have the vulnerable part to share with another person, that is even stronger.
And it's like the difference between there's two trees that I love. I love trees. I love trees. I love being in the nature and being around trees. And there's two kinds of trees that I really, really love. One is the very strong oak tree. Nothing takes an oak tree down. It's powerful, it's strong, it's hardwood, it's just what it is. But then there's this other tree that I just delight in, and it's the willow tree.
Ooh,
Because it flows with the wind and it bends, and it doesn't fall either. It doesn't get knocked down because it's learned to bend with everything. And I love those because to me, they are the exact metaphor for masculine, feminine energy. They're both part of nature. They both intertwine with each other in nature, but they both have a different way and they complement each other. And I just love those two trees as an analogy for masculine and feminine energy.
Wonderful. Yeah, I remember these two trees when I walk in the woods.
You'll be looking for the trees all the time.
I look at it. I'll say, which one is it? Which one is the oak tree? I know willow. Oak tree. I need to figure out which one is the oak tree.
The oak tree is. I love the oak trees because of their power and all that they give back to the world. And both of them give back to the world in very different ways, but they both give back, right? Nature is in harmony because nature understands giver's gain, right? Nature gives constantly and gets constantly. And that giver's gain philosophy, I think, is huge. Now, that Ivan Misner was brilliant because he built all of BNI on this concept of giver's gain. And I know you've been in BNI.
Yes, when I was in Hong Kong, started my business for the 3 years in Hong Kong when I was starting my business. Yes, I'm very blessed to learn the philosophy and met brilliant, great people, and also reconnect with you again through a different platform. Before we were classmates, we were a good friend. Then come to BNI, that organization, and then I told my friends, I said, you know what, I know Hazel. And Hazel said, yes, Agnes is my old friend. And then we share the same language. And because of that founder, Ivan Misner, talked about the giver's gain. I really learned so much. And now I'm really walking what I have learned of giver's gain in many ways. Yeah.
And did you notice that every single person in BNI knows the philosophy of giver's gain? Like if you say, what's the primary core value for BNI? They will all say
giver's gain. Yeah.
Right? Because BNI also has their core values and they never change and they live by those core values. I love it because I do love the values. And I think it was one of the things that attracted me to it was understanding my values and their values and how they matched up together. Right. And I think stress is caused when we are working outside of our values. Yeah, we're outside of our values. We're working for an employer who doesn't appreciate our values, or we're working for some cause that really it doesn't match our values. And so we get out of alignment and it creates stress when we're not in alignment with our values.
I like this reminder. Yeah, sometimes we are not aware why we are stressed. Yeah. It's doing something that is not aligning with our value. Yes, very true.
It's out of alignment. And so we're having to work harder, right? We have to work harder to make it work, and we're trying to compromise, but you cannot compromise your true values. You just can't compromise them. It makes life difficult when you start to do that.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, I can. I told you freedom and fun is two of my values, right? And freedom for me is about having time and the ability to make decisions based on what I choose, not being dictated to. So I was offered this position at one point, and they gave me the job description and all the things that I was going to have to do in this job description. And some of their values met mine, but the freedom and fun part did not match up at all. There was going to be no freedom And I was not going to have fun having to do all of the stuff that needed to be done. And so I had to say no, because I knew that that would stress me out so much that I would not be good at the job. I would not be good at it. And so I look at everything I take on and say, where is this going to impact my values? And do my values and their values line up? Do they appreciate that their people have freedom and their people have fun and have flexibility and the freedom to speak up, right? Freedom and fun. Everybody has to describe what's important to their values. Contribution is key to mine. That's why giver's gain is so important to me. It's how I contribute to the world.
Wow, this is great that you discover your core value, then you really can apply and also make the full use of it and create your very loving life.
Correct. Like courage is one of my core values. Well, courage means that I do the hard things. I have the courage to do the hard things that don't make me comfortable, that don't make me happy. But I have to do the hard things. Sometimes that's a hard conversation. That's a conversation with someone. Courage to do that. So, you know, you got to look at each one of your core values. And so I really encourage people all the time to do the stories of their life and find out the values that lie within those stories. The stories of the stories of your most joyful moments, your most painful moments, your most exhilarating things that your proudest moments. And when you start to look at all of those stories, you will see values resonate over and over again.
Yes, absolutely.
In living them.
Yeah. Since now is the beginning of the year, 2022, I think it's really a great advice that we can start sorting out ourselves, what are our core value, and then ask ourselves these questions.
And ask ourselves, is this goal based on my values, or is this goal based on what society says I need to do? Right? Because I think we set goals based on what society says we should do, versus goals of this resonates with my true values. And that's why I'm setting it.
Wonderful.
Because those are easy to achieve when they match. Those goals are easy to achieve.
Wow, this is a great sharing. I really find that is very powerful to help us in the early of the year to start a new chapter, to start our new story of this year. And it's by knowing our core value and giving to others on creating a life we love.
You know, creating the life, I think when it all comes together, we do create lives we love. Sometimes we don't love it. I mean, there's some days I'm like not loving life because things are hard, right? But when I fall back to my true beliefs, I get right back into the life I do love. Yeah, you know, I'm really excited about changes. I know the world is painful right now, but I'm excited about the changes that are happening in the world. I'm excited about how the world is going, and I'm joining forces with another good friend of mine who you remember, 𝒂𝒑𝒑𝒊𝒏𝒆𝒔, and you know, she has really got this brilliant idea of bringing women together. It's called Sisterhood of Ubuntu, and Ubuntu is I am because you are. Right? I cannot be
African word, right?
Yeah, Ubuntu. Ubuntu. And so tonight we're going to have our first conversation about what this will look like and how this will come together. And yeah, I am excited. And 𝒂𝒑, you know, 𝒂𝒑 is growing, and we're still growing, and we've managed to keep a lot of people in business, even at times when it was really hard, you know, by being online. So I think the way the members have contributed to one another has been very, very powerful. So I would say to anybody, if you don't have a network and you're looking for people to collaborate with you who understand giver's gain, you will find them in 𝒂𝒑. You will find them in a chapter near you. It's just a matter of going and finding the right chapter where you are and finding the right people. And it does make a huge difference in your life. For me, 𝒂𝒑 grew up a businesswoman.
I really feel thankful and grateful for the for the experience of joining BNI and helped me a lot to know what is the real meaning of networking, the very genuine, authentic relationship with others, and then build the relationship to get the business. I have a lot of old referral from friends. Those are all the ideas of networking. Networking is not only being a social butterfly.
No, it's not about running around handing out business cards.
Exactly.
It's about building a true relationship with the people in your network, right?
Absolutely.
And they're still helping you, even though you're not in Hong Kong anymore. So I think 2022 is going to have some challenges, but I think as we continue forward and we really start to reflect on who we are in the world, we begin to change the world one person at a time.
This is a very, very good advice. Thank you so much, Hazel. Yeah. And last but not least, my channel is about power of gratitude. Anyone you like to show your gratitude, your gratefulness? Anyone?
Oh, gosh. First, I would have to say one of the things I'm really grateful for is the amazing team that I have in British Columbia who keep the franchise going there. I have not been to British Columbia in 2 years now. I've been locked out, right? So my businesses, I trust them. And so I have great gratitude, but really, I'm just grateful for the life that I have and for the path that I have traveled. People go, how did you overcome that? And I go, if I had not suffered through all of the things I did, I could not be the woman I am today because I understand suffering and I understand joy.
Yes. Yes.
Together. So I'm just grateful for the life I live.
Wow.
And I'm also grateful for you because we've been friends a long time, and to get to be on your show, I'm really excited. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's really my very big privilege and honor to have this very great sharing. I mean, everyone will benefit. It's not about my channel. This is a giver's gain. I really like to spend the time and then do this kind of sharing from different talents of guests, and then people eventually will pick different things. And I would like to use what you said to give you the blessing for the year is be the oak tree and also be the willow tree. That is a very good metaphor. And I think we need it always to have this softness and the very strong power side to get the balance in life. Thank you so much, Hazel. And I wish you very good health and continuously shining in your journey.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you.
Yes. So if you like this channel, please give me a thumbs up and also subscribe my channel. Thank you very much, Hazel, for joining me today. Bye. See you again. Bye-bye.